to welcome. My name is Chris Shelton.
And I'm Parisa Shelton, and welcome to Find Your Fulfillment.
Your journey to emotional well-being with Qigong.
Today is our second of 3 segments. So if you didn't see yesterday's segment, make sure you go back and watch it, where we discuss what fulfillment really means and how Qigong can help you find alignment and reach your ultimate potential.
Yeah, we also discussed too some of the misconceptions about Qigong, and also discussed too what is Qi and what is Qigong in general, and then how does that apply to your life, and how does Qigong apply to helping you achieve fulfillment in your life.
And today we're going to discuss how the emotions can play a role in chronic pain.
Well, like they say, emotion is a potion.
Energy in motion, emotion.
Emotion. We're recording a video for TikTok, and one of the things that I said just came out is that suppression equals depression.
Ooh, that was really deep. I think we need to make that on a t-shirt.
Yes, suppression equals depression. That leads into today's discussion about how Qigong helps with our emotional well-being.
Okay, so give us a little bit further insight into the connection between emotions. When you say emotions, is that like all emotions? Like, is happiness going to cause chronic pain? Or are you just talking about the emotions like anger and fear and like those kind of more perceived negative emotions?
Labeled negative emotions, which is anger, resentment, old anger, rage, hatred,
sadness, loss.
Mm-hmm. Shame and guilt are also in there as well too. Worrying too much, over-intellectualizing. Well, what happens is that this creates inflammation inside the body. You know, the interesting thing about our bodies, our bodies are so fascinating. And the interesting thing is that our sympathetic nervous system is the part of our fight or flight. And when we are in chronic stress or being bombarded with chronic situations, or situations build on top of each other, guess what? That sympathetic nervous system goes into pain. It creates pain inside the body.
Right,
That's why my previous book that I just released earlier this year, Chris Shelton's Easy Guide to Fix Neck and Back Pain, that's why I wrote that book, is because back pain, unless you got hit by a car or fell off a ladder, if you just woke up one day and all of a sudden your back goes out, you go pick up a tennis shoe or whatnot, then that has to do with stress buildup. And so going back to the sympathetic nervous system, if this sympathetic nervous system is in fight mode or flight all the time, that creates inflammation inside the body. And you can be exercising and eating as healthy as you think you could be, but I see it a lot where somebody is physically fit and they're exercising 1 or 2 hours a day. And eating right, and they're still dying of carotid artery disease. So that type of inflammatory condition, if it's not diet induced, you have to really look at the person's emotional state.
That's true. And I just saw someone have a stroke at the post office. It's so like, but you know what I mean?
I just want to tap on this thing with the stroke because, as science evolves, some of these clinical medical conditions should be reversing in how many people it's affecting.
Right.
But strokes and aneurysms are on the rise, along with other diseases, myocarditis, nephritis, kidney disease, turbo cancers. There's all types of diabetes is on the rise. But I just want to talk about a stroke because, again, it's a buildup. And what is that buildup of? Yes, a poor diet will definitely contribute to or drinking too much. If you're an alcoholic and you're drinking, oh sure, high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke for sure. But again, if you are drinking too much, or if you are using drugs excessively, why are you doing that?
What are you trying to numb?
Chances are you have some kind of resentment. I know as being
fear.
A fear or resentment. Chances are, though, especially with alcoholics, and I'm speaking for myself and being an addict, is that resentment was the number one cause. Number one cause for me to want to drink back in the day. And, when I was going through a program, a lot of the other people in the program, they talk about how these resentments actually would cause relapses, right? So, yes, it can be fear, it can be other emotions, but chances are it's some kind of resentment. And when we look at old anger and resentments, guess what? That will clog those artery walls. That will create high cholesterol. Like we see it a lot where somebody is healthy and they still have very high cholesterol. Well, let's take a look at your mental, emotional state. And so another inflammatory conditions too, like menstrual issues for women. In Chinese medicine, having clotting or severe pain or where your migraines come up or
What
vomiting.
about irritation? Like, around your menstrual cycle?
Yeah, irritation, all the things that I'm talking about, that's considered a disease in Chinese medicine because the menstrual blood should move freely. The organ that controls menstrual blood is the liver because the heart governs blood. The liver is the controller of blood and also controls the free flow of menstrual blood. So guess what? Anger, resentment, old anger, and being too controlling actually will constrict the blood of the liver. Think about it. If you're controlling, what happens? Things tighten up. If you're angry, what happens? You constrict, ready to fight, right? You're ready to fight. So guess what? That's going to affect the liver blood and the qi of the liver, which then will affect uterine blood. So when we look at these types of conditions, then we have to look at what is going on mentally, emotionally with somebody. And more importantly, give them a tool. Let's give them a tool. Talking is a great way of working through. Journaling. I always recommend journaling because it's a way to exchange the energy between your pen or your pencil to your paper. But these Qigong practices give you specific tools to deal with the different negative emotions that shows up as chronic pain and inflammatory diseases inside the body.
Wow, it's like unraveling a tight little knot.
Yeah.
So could you show us? Let's do the liver cleansing exercise just real quick.
Okay, so the liver cleansing exercise is very simple. We're just going to hold a ball. And you do this from a seated or standing position. Feet are out approximately shoulders width apart. I'm tucking my sacrum underneath, unlocking the knees. So we don't want the knees locked. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to press and extend one hand, elongating the fingers or the ligaments in the fingers, and press. Squeeze through the midsection and pull back. So as the arm comes back, I'm extending this lateral costal region, the side of the rib cage here, which then helps to really stimulate the liver acupuncture meridian. So if we saw a chart with an acupuncture meridian, you see how this practice works. So it's almost like as I come into the center here, I'm wringing out that internal organ and wringing out that liver, which, by the way, is located on the right side of the body. Crosses over to the midsection. It's a massive organ. It's a big, huge filter.
It's a big filter. This is like changing the Brita filter on your liver.
So what I want you to do now is I want you to imagine a green cloud filling up into the liver as you inhale. And then as you exhale, I want you to allow for any circumstance where it harbor anger, resentment, old anger. Allow that to leave like a dark cloud going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. Inhale, center, exhale. And as I let go of this anger, the situation, I'm going to allow for the positive virtue of creativity and kindness to come in to take its place. Okay? And you do a couple more. So you can do this as long as you like. And it doesn't matter if other thoughts pass through your mind as you're doing it. As long as you're focusing on something, making this into a mindfulness practice that has created anger or resentment for you. Okay, and then all we're going to do is pull the energy in, pressing down, and then I'm going to just pull down the heavens one time. And exhale. So that's the great thing about this Qigong practice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Feels so good and freeing. Free. The cool thing about these practices is that you become so aware and in tune with your body and your organ system. Like specifically when we were doing the liver cleansing exercise, I'm focusing on the right side of my body. I'm reliving or just bringing forth like, okay, that was a frustrating thing. And now it's literally unraveling, diluting the frustration, dissolving, dissipating, so we can feel the most amount of alignment. It's almost like we get to expand our container. So that container gets a little bit bigger. We're able to cope and deal with the stressors that come to us. And when we are feeling frustrated, angry, resentful, sad, now we have a specific thing that we can move our bodies in a certain way and literally step into your greatness, step into those positive virtues that you were talking about earlier. So
yeah,
it's so cool.
Going back to yesterday's discussion, this is what is the part of the process of bringing us true fulfillment. Because again, this container can totally expand. And when it does expand, we want to expand it with good, happy, healthy thoughts. We don't want to be harboring these negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions. And that's the great thing about Qigong is that it gives us a tool to be able to work with the past stuff and also the day-to-day stuff that we're all dealing with. So again, going back to yesterday's discussion of fulfillment, what brings you fulfillment? We talked about our vocation, we talked about our relationships, we talked about our health is part of that
Or
fulfillment.
physical health. Yeah.
Physical health.
Because when you don't feel good, it sucks.
Yeah, so your physical health, and at the same time, your mental emotional state plays a big role in that physical health. In my new book, Chris Shelton's Easy Guide to Emotional Wellbeing with Qigong, as well as my other book that just came out this year, Chris Shelton's Easy Guide to Fix Neck and Back Pain, that's what I discuss. I dive in deep in both books and talking about these emotions and how it shows up as chronic pain and disease. And again, so how can you really live with full fulfillment if you're suffering all the time?
It's true.
Suffering with pain. And we used the example of the family member who had the high enzyme counts. This person is financially set, gets to travel the world, has people, the serve
a private cook.
Private cook. You look from the outside, you say, wow, they're living the best life ever.
Right.
But it wasn't the case, or it's not the case, because this buildup of resentment and anger, and then being in an environment where it can be explosive with the spouse and other people in the house, that there is what created the liver enzyme count. So when we look at fulfillment on the outside, it looks like, oh wow, they must be really fulfilled.
Right.
But it just goes to show you that having things doesn't bring that fulfillment. I'm not saying though that you can't have things.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference.
You can have things. You can have all the luxuries that you want. God bless. You have the biggest house, have the nicest car.
Yes, please.
It's just not being attached to it. But when we look at that fulfillment in our life, it's how are we feeling? And here, in this case here, well, physicians weren't able to figure out and weren't able to stop the pain. No pain medication was getting rid of the chronic pain and the vomiting that she was having as a result of the high liver enzyme counts. And so with Qigong, giving her these practices, giving herbs, I gave a dietary recommendation of hot water and lemon in the morning to help for the liver to kickstart its function for the day.
Right.
And now she's doing fine.
She's doing so good. I talked to her earlier today.
Yeah. We could have all this stuff, and from the outside looking in, say, wow, they must have total fulfillment because they have all this stuff. They have the career, they have the house, they have the whatever, and that's fine and dandy. But at the same time, how are they doing emotionally?
It's that peace within. It's the kingdom within.
Yeah. And I could tell from growing up in an abusive home, and then I having neglected, and then also having I was married twice before, two completely dysfunctional relationships. By the way, I learned how to have those dysfunctional relationships from my childhood, from my parents having a dysfunctional relationship, right?
I understand.
And so fighting, arguing all the time. And once I got, especially after the second marriage, oh my God, I refuse now to have that kind of discord in my life ever again. And that's one of the things.
That's why we say third time's the charm.
I'm so grateful that my home life is peaceful. My work life is peaceful.
Aww.
We don't have any drama going on in our life down here in Los Angeles. It's the greatest life ever. It really has become the greatest life ever. And this is something that we could offer for you through these practices of Qigong. And so we're living testimonial. It's living testimonial. I'm not just talking about this stuff because I heard another teacher say it or a philosopher say it. No, this is the truth. I transmuted myself from being an angry, addictive person, controlling, had all kinds of health issues, to now I'm living my best life ever.
Wow. But the key is, there is a key, because nothing in life is free.
You have to practice.
Yes, you must invest the time in yourself.
Yeah, you have to invest the time in yourself.
And that's what you did do. You're very dedicated, focused type of a student and practitioner. So
yeah, like even this morning, I did not want to go boxing this morning. But after I got to the boxing gym and after I got warmed up and
got wound up.
Yeah, then
you did your Qigong warm up.
Yeah, then I felt great. I was so grateful that I did. And then after doing the round and stuff like that, then you feel better, right? You feel better, true. And then you have the Qigong to be able to pull you back,
to cool down.
Yeah. So I guess that's one other point. When we talk about fulfillment and then the disease process too, is that if you are an athlete and you are competing, Qigong is also something you implement into your life.
It's performance enhancing.
Yeah. So my friend is Billy Blanks, the Taibo creator. He's one of my best friends here in Los Angeles. And a lot of times when we're on stage together. You know, I normally will do the cool down, like he'll do his Tai Bo for the audience, and then I'll come up there and he'll be up on stage with me practicing Qigong, and it's the greatest thing because it's a harmonization between the hard and the soft, the yin and the yang, the explosive power to the calming power.
Yes,
and that's the calming. And that's the calmness that comes in with the practice of Qigong. Is something that if you are an athlete, a professional athlete, it will completely enhance your abilities.
So what about the athlete or the person who really likes to work out so hard and says it's like so slow, I can't quiet my mind?
You can't quiet your mind. Well, you know, then what I'm going to say is I read Kobe's book. You know,
Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant's book, because he talks about how the mental attitude, the mental focus, the mental co-creation is what helps you succeed. Phil Jackson, who was the basketball coach for the Bulls
and the Lakers,
was one of the most successful winning coaches ever. And what he did was have them lay on the court.
And do visualization.
Yeah, I saw him at Expo in San Francisco about 4 or 5 years ago give a talk about how he'd have them lay on the court, visualizing how are they going to feel before, how calm are they going to be during the game, how are they going to feel after the game, and this is what he contributes to their success. So when people think, I need to be going, all the time, well, eventually something will break. Whether it's pulled muscle, torn hamstring, or heart attack from pushing so hard.
Wow.
You need to go inward. You need to be able to regulate your breathing better. You need to be able to calm yourself down.
Find that balance.
Yeah, it's so very important.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for tomorrow's segment where we're going to share with you a specific opportunity where you can incorporate these practices on a daily basis.
And also help you reach the fulfillment that we've been talking about over the last 2 videos.
Where you can find fulfillment and your emotional balance.
Find fulfillment, which then helps you on your journey to emotional well-being. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. We love to hear from you guys. Is there anything that we could clarify for you? Also share this. This is valuable information. A lot of people I've seen in the Qigong community, they're not really talking about the specific medicinal health benefits of Qigong. I think that's what makes us and our programs so different. And whether it's our Qigong teacher training course, our live classes, or our Zoom classes every week on the Qi Club, or our mastermind programs, and the other classes too, like face reading, etc.
And the books.
And the books.
So much to offer.
So the whole purpose is that we want people to understand what they're doing, why they're doing it. Please join us again tomorrow for a special opportunity. So I'm Chris Shelton.
And I'm Parisa Shelton.
Until next time,
we will Chi you later. Shh.